Good day mga boss! Welcome po sa ating channel, Math Tutorials TV. In this video, we are going to discuss special products, particularly in a square of a binomial and a square of a trinomial. So are you ready? So let us start. Okay, unang i-discuss ko mga boss is how to perform a square of a binomial. Okay, so we have here the steps on how to evaluate a square of a binomial. So first, we are going to square the first term. Second, we multiply the first and the second term, then we double the answer or the product. Then the third is we are going to square the last term. Okay, so I will show you a specific example mga boss. So for instance, we have here s plus 4 is quantity raised to 2, or s plus 4 quantity squared. So this is a square of a binomial because we have 1, 2. We have two terms, so this is a binomial. Square of a binomial. So by using this process or these steps, we are going to get the square of this binomial instantly. Okay? So paano po mga boss? So ganito yung gagawin natin. So the first step is we're going to square the first term. Since the first term is s, so we square s, that is s squared. Okay? Then, second step, multiply the first and the second term, then we double the product. Okay? So the first term is s, the second term is 4. S times 4, that gives us, tama mga boss, 4s. Then, we double 4s or multiply by 2 ang 4s. So, double or multiplying by 2. So 4s times 2, that gives us, correct, 8s. Okay? So positive 8s or plus 8s. Then, the last step is we're going to square the last term. So the last term is 4. So what is the square of 4? Yes, that's correct. That is positive 16. So the answer of s plus 4 quantity squared is s squared plus 8s plus 16. Okay? So next, we have another example. We have w minus 5 quantity squared. So again, this is a binomial square. So square of a binomial. So by following the steps of squaring a binomial, first, we are going to square the first term. So the first term is, correct, w. So squared w, that is w squared. Second step, we multiply the first and the second term. So again, the first term is w, the second term is negative 5. So multiply w and negative 5. What is the product? Correct, negative 5w. Then, we double negative 5w or we multiply 2 to negative 5w. That gives us, correct again, that is negative 10w. And next, the last step is we are going to square the last term. The last term is negative 5, so negative 5 squared, that gives us, yes, positive 25. So therefore, square of w minus 5 is w squared minus 10w plus 25. So the next special product I'm going to show to you is how to square a trinomial. So there are 4 steps in how to square a trinomial. First, we are going to get the sum of the squares of the first, second, and last terms. Step number 2, we are going to get the twice the product of the first and the second terms. Okay, in other words, we're going to multiply the first and the second term, then multiply by 2. Third, we are going to get twice the product of the first and the last terms. Or in other words, we're going to multiply the first and the last term, then multiply again by 2. Okay? And the last step is twice the product of the second and the last terms. Or in other words, we're going to multiply the second and the last term, then again multiply it by 2. So that is the 4th step. So I will show you again a specific example. Say for instance, we have here m plus n minus d quantity squared. So this is a square of a trinomial because we have here 1, 2, 3 terms and a square. So square of a trinomial. So how are we going to perform the special product of a square of a trinomial? So that is equal to First, we are going to get the sum of the squares of the first, second, and the last term. So the first term is m. What is the square of m? Correct. That is m squared. Plus, because we have here sum. So sum means we're going to add. So the square of the second term, that is n squared. Plus again, that is the square of the third term or the last term, that is d squared. Okay? So that is step number 1. So step number 2 is we multiply the first and the second term. So the first term is m, the second term is n. So m times n is correct, mn. Then twice the product or multiply that by 2. So mn times 2, that is 2mn. Okay? Next, multiply the product of the first and the last term. So first is m, last is negative d. So m times negative d, that is negative, correct, negative dm. Then double it or twice the product, that is negative 2dm. Correct. Next, the last step is we are going to multiply the second and the last term, then multiply that product by 2. So our second term is n, our last term is d, or negative d. So n times negative d, that gives us, correct, negative dn. So multiplying negative dn by 2, that means twice, okay? So multiply by 2. So negative dn times 2, that gives us, correct, negative 2dn. So this is now the final answer. Or you can write this in a standard form. So we have here d squared plus m squared plus n squared minus 2dm minus 2dn plus 2mn. Okay? So how about letter B? We have here 3d plus 2e plus f quantity squared. So again, by applying the steps, so square of the first term is 9d squared, because 3d squared is 9d squared. Square of the second term is 2e, that is plus 4e squared. Okay? Then another sum again of, this square of the last term, f, so plus f squared. So that is the first step, the sum of the squares of the first, second, and the third term. Next, we multiply the first and the second term, then double it or multiply it by 2. So 3d times 2e, that is 6de, times 2, that is 12de. Okay? Next, multiply the first and the third term, then double it again. So 3d times f is, correct, 3df. Multiplying it by 2, that gives us 6df. Okay? And then the last is we're going to multiply the second and the third term. So multiplying now the second and the third term, that is 2e times f is 2ef. And multiplying the product by 2, that is 4ef. Okay? So the answer of 3d plus 2e plus f quantity squared is equal to 9d squared plus 4e squared plus f squared plus 12de plus 6df plus 4ef. I hope may natutunan kayo sa ating bagong video. Thank you for supporting our channel and God bless.